for the daily Millionaire news. Today's going to be another great day. I hope it is for you as well. We are actually just about to take off to Fresno. We are going to meet another investor out there who has identified a couple of properties he would like to go check out. So we're going to go do that. We're actually going to meet at the hub, which is kind of cool. Sort of that office in Fresno that I put together with general contractors and real estate agents and wholesalers and flippers. So always nice to see that the building is being used, and kind of a landmark. I really do intend it to become that spot for SoCal and Bay Area and even out of town investors that want to go check out Fresno. It's somewhere we can meet, either meet first, kind of decompress, answer questions, or maybe meet at the end so we can talk about everything we looked at. Hey Jason, how are you? Good morning. So as far as the news goes, got a couple of things that caught my attention this Saturday morning. First off, did you see the idea for potentially having tax cuts or incentives to own stock? This would be owning stock outside of your 401k potentially. I think it's interesting. I think anything you could do to help incent ownership is generally a good idea. I do see, this proposal, and I only read one article on it. It's still in the idea phase. It could obviously die out, but the idea is, for example, the numbers I saw is if you were a family of four and you made, a couple hundred grand a year, you could set aside $10,000 of after-tax money into this universal savings account and potentially have all the gains be tax-free, which, would be a potentially very lucrative thing to do. So I thought it was interesting. I think it's in general a good idea. I do think it does kind of feel like you're buying at the high, right? The stock market, as we all know, is on a tear lately. It's continually hitting records. This feels like you could potentially be pouring gasoline on a campfire and really get this thing moving. Um, which may feel good in the short term, but whenever the next thing comes around, we just got to realize that there's those unintended consequences. So I think the goodness outweighs the bad, but we at least should acknowledge there is a downside to something like that. It also, generally speaking, I think goes back to the rich getting richer, right? It if you don't have any money to save, right, there's no incentive to own. I think we need to talk about that. I think this consumer-based economy, live beyond your means in many cases, is something we should be looking at. So, yeah, exactly. Get in and get out after gains. Yep, exactly. So, those are the things that I think about. I'm not sure how you do that. Maybe you incent savings somehow. Maybe here's an idea. It literally just came to me, right? So I don't think we save enough as an average American. So what if we created a literally stealing the name universal savings account where any interest collected is tax free? What about that? I just get nervous when you're trying to force money at an asset type. It creates artificial bubbles, and there's a problem. But if we said, hey, let's increase savings, we want to incent savings. What if we said any interest earned in this type of account is always and perpetually tax-free? That way everybody can play, right? If you can save $20 a week, or you can save 20 grand a week, you could put money in this savings account and get some benefit. I think something like that would be, I guess I'll use the word more fair. Is that right? But generally, I want to create something that lifts all boats and not just lift the boats of the rich, if you know what I mean. So I hope we look at something like that. Another thing I saw is it's very clear that the rest of the world is kind of chasing the US market. I think what we've seen the last couple of weeks is a rotation out of stocks in Asia and Europe, and the money's got to go somewhere. Um, yeah, we're terrible savers, just terrible. It's like a national sport. Who cannot save? It's crazy. So again, I think we're seeing a worldwide rotation. We're seeing a influx to the U.S. stocks. It kind of helps explain why we're having highs after highs. So um, that would be interesting. Yeah, let's push that idea of having a personal savings that are that need. I like that idea. It just came to me literally while talking to you. So pretty cool how this gets the wheels spinning. So again, I think the rest of the world's coming. I think that explains why the stock market is still hitting highs. I still think we have some Q1 noise in the system. We're going to have lots of companies blame the virus for misses in Q1. It's going to be interesting. I was encouraged. It looks like they are fast tracking a potential vaccine. I don't know if you all saw this, but somebody went in and did a, I don't know what they call it, a genotype of the virus and then found something to combat it. I don't understand biotech at all, but it sounds like there's some reasons to be hopeful, which is pretty cool because this thing is highly contagious. So hopefully that happens. Next up, this is something I've been talking about for quite a while. I'm very, very concerned about, and that is Ponzi schemes are on the rise. They actually hit the highest level in over a decade. There were 60 identified in 2019 for a total of $3.25 billion. Um, if you follow this channel, you know that I am very nervous because of all the syndications and general partners and limited partners out there buying in a hot market. I think it is very easy to want to maintain your preferred return, which is the money you send to investors every quarter usually. So it's probably pretty easy to take money from property A and move it to property B to keep your returns high so you can go raise that money again in the future. Um, I think it's going to get I think it's going to get pretty ugly when the tide rolls out and as Warren Buffett says, we see who's swimming naked. So just be careful. Things that I would look for. I thought about this as I read the article. Is um, it may sound odd, but too consistent of returns. Right, the market's volatile. Real estate is volatile. Real estate has bad things happen. But if you see kind of that consistent return through multiple years, that's a red flag to me. Um, the thing that really gets investors is the fear of missing out, right? And that's where we are right now. The last 2 years of the last crash, which I invested through, people got hurt because they were afraid they were missing out. They were in a rush. They had to do it. They had to make the decision now. It was going to disappear. And that's where we are today, I'm afraid. Um, you know, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's going to be pretty bad. So that is interesting. And then as far as new gadgets and gizmos go, I just saw the new Samsung flip phone. Looks to be a little fatter screen than the old Razr we had from Motorola. But I thought that was interesting. Still has the touch screen and all of that. It's pretty amazing what you can do with some feats of engineering. So pretty interesting. We'll see how it goes. It's $1,380, $1,380. So that's not cheap. I think our parents would laugh at us because some of their cars weren't that much, and now we're buying phones of that. Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. You rushed in 0405. I think there's a lot of people repeating that mistake right now in 2020. I think it's been happening in multifamily, and I could see it potentially happening in residential real estate. I really do think 2020 is going to be a huge year for single family homes. But that just means that it could get white hot in 2021, 22. So we need to be careful. So that's what. Yeah, no kidding, huh? Big money for the phone. $1,380 for a phone. A phone. It's crazy. So in the end, last thing about Ponzi schemes that I put down that I failed to mention is if you never hear bad news, right? Real estate investing, especially running apartments and all of that type, bad stuff happens. Roofs need to be replaced, evictions, non-payments. If it's all steady Eddie and trust me, trust me, trust me, and here's your return again, don't call me kind of stuff. Um, that's where we get very concerned, and that's how Bernie Madoff was able to run a $65 billion Ponzi scheme all by himself. Is producing consistent returns. Nobody asked any questions. They're like, just keep it running here, take more of my money. And, that's what happened. So Don't do it. It's not worth it. So that's what I got for you today. As always, we will do this tomorrow. We are off to Fresno again to meet an investor, show him a couple of houses he's looking at buying, and should be a great day. All right. I hope you enjoy your Saturday. As always, take care. And if you've read my book, don't forget to go leave a review. It's the least thing you could do for me. I would appreciate it. We're up to 129 as of this morning, and I think somebody actually wrote a review on Audible for me, and it's only been on Audible for like 3 or 4 days. So if that was you, thank you very much, and have a great day. Take care, Jason.